All right. So I don't know where we left off. I just got dropped by my internet. Lord help me now.
There's always reasons, and we may not know exactly why right now, but there's always a reason. I mean, I don't know. Have you got any text messages?
I got a text message. Why?
Just making sure everything, like, we just never know why these things happen. It's just kind of an interesting, yeah, it's just kind of interesting. So,
Yeah.
because I don't
I
know where we're at either. It froze a couple of times.
yeah, I got dropped and then I did get a text message. Somebody asked me if I was available. I said no, I'm doing a podcast recording.
Oh,
So maybe they needed me. Dang it.
well,
Anyway, do you recall the last thing you heard that came out of my mouth?
I don't actually.
All right. So what I know I was talking about is that the choices and decisions I had or I made that brought me to the space of financially struggling, concerned about my relationships, not really liking my career. Like I made all those decisions to brought me into that space. And whether I like it or not, I did it. I did it. That's my responsibility. That's on me. But I can't have the same mentality, mindset, emotions, actions, even the way I speak. I couldn't stay in that space and expect my life to turn around. I had to do something different. I had to do this something different. It wasn't anybody else's fault. All the things I did, I made those decisions. I made those choices. And so it was up to me to shift that. And I knew within me a lot had to shift, a lot. And so it took time. And as I said earlier, as I started changing one thing, other things within me started shifting. But there were still, each topic needed my attention, like diligent focus. And so I did it in increments and steps and didn't overwhelm myself with the whole picture, like everything needs to change right now, because even just a little shift affects the rest of your life. It affects the other areas of your life. Let me put it that way. A little shift is going to affect the other areas of your life, even if it's just a little bit. And it's enough that kept me going. And the more I did it, the better it got. The more I did it, the better it got. And still to this day, I ask myself, what can I do today that I'm going to be and do better? Every day, is the forefront of my brain. What can I do today so I can be and do better than I was yesterday? And as long as that is the question in my head on a daily basis, is there days I falter? Yes. Is there days, moments I have a pissy mood? Yes, absolutely. And I did it over these past few days when I was getting a lack of sleep. I'm like, you could ask me the most simple question, and I was just like, I don't care, figure it out. Right? I'm just like, I wasn't helpful. I was just like, leave me alone. I need some time. I was hungry because I wasn't taking the time to nourish myself. And so, yeah, I do falter. And you know what? Am I proud of it? No, but that's where I was in that moment.
And that was your best at that moment too. That's
Was
also, remember that.
That's right. And that doesn't mean like I just sloughed it off like, oh well, they need to understand what I'm going through. Had nothing to do with that. It was okay, Amy, when you're tired, it's time to be even more aware of how I'm being, because it's not anybody's fault. I made the decision to take on this task that created this me being tired or exhausted. wasn't their fault. So to have that type of attitude towards somebody that it's not their fault, that's not fair to them. And I truly appreciate them. I appreciate them, supporting me through this. So being more aware, again, it's a learning. I turn it into a learning process that when I'm exhausted, this is how I show up. So now I have that more awareness around it. So if it should happen again, I have that knowledge now.
Yes.
Take a breath. It's not their fault. Don't be snappy and snippy and be a bitch, because it's not necessary. So when you turn it into a learning process, then you're like, okay, did I apologize? Absolutely. I'm so sorry I treated you like this. Or I truly appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do. Like, let them know, like, I know this isn't your fault. So, so yeah, that's some of the stuff I've experienced recently, very recently, in this last week.
That's yourself. To me, that's just it's a gauge. It's yourself letting you know, I need some attention. I need to give myself attention because you're putting so much outside of yourself. And none of us are perfect. We can maintain a higher place always, but we have to take care of ourselves first. There has to be a harmony or a balance in all that. And you get so much more out of it. Just like appreciation, it's when you can, but you can't be in appreciation when you're exhausted, dehydrated, hungry. I mean, you can't. You're just not in a space because your body's like, I need your attention. We can't put out any more right now. We can't keep writing checks out of this account because I got to replenish it. I need to put more back into it. You just can't give what you don't have. And that's just to honor and love those around you when they do get short like that, and understand that they probably do need something else right now, or just let them have a break, not take it personal, because I mean, I've been there way too many times to really, but I pay attention to it more now, and we don't spend that much time there. It's like, oh, I didn't like the way I was acting. Oh, okay. Sometimes I'll get sharp if I'm dehydrated. Sometimes I get sharp if not sometimes. I usually get sharp if I'm hungry. If I'm not giving my body enough food, I get short.
Let's just be real, it's angry.
Yeah, I get pissed off. But and at that time it's just misdirected. It's not, and really it's just anger because why didn't I already take care of myself? Why didn't I do that? But when you're in a higher place like that, then you can appreciate everything. And believe me, appreciating everything around you is so much better. You appreciate it when you have the money. You appreciate it when that account's paid off. You appreciated the person that opened the door for you. There's just so many things that we can look at on a daily basis instead of the opposite side of things. But we do have to take care of ourselves. And it's not selfish, because you can't give what you don't have. So if you don't take care of yourself, you're almost worthless. Really, you're just now supplying the same energy that's surrounding you in a lot of cases.
And you're more apt too. I mean, we're all energetic beings, and so when you do that, you're more apt to absorb the energies that are around you, which can be very depleting as well.
Yep, because you dipped. I always call it, you dipped. Your energy dipped right down to whatever was in that space. When before you were the energy that was raising up everybody else's energy in the space. And you can see it. No one has to tell you. No one has to acknowledge you and say, oh my God, I feel so much better since you got here. Even though they probably did. And some people can't even put, 2 and 2 together yet, because they're not so familiar with the energies and how things work. Just like, oh, relief. Thank you. You showed up, because it's relief from being in that space that they were in, especially with everything that's going on in that environment that you've been around lately.
Right.
It's a lot of energies, a lot of people processing a transition, and it's a lot.
And I'm witness too. So I think we talked about this last week. Like I'm very aware of how energy works, and I'm very aware how easily I can absorb energy and it'll affect me. So being mindful of that and taking my own precautions before I enter that space of this family, I go over grounded, call in Archangel Michael to surround me, to help me maintain my energy, right? Got this blue bubble of energy around me, and then go over. And it's interesting that 4 people can be in the house for a few days and everybody's good. Then you add somebody else into the mix and how the energy of the other people shift. I'm just like, if you people would know, if you would just educate yourself of what just happened, your lives would be so much easier. And it's really amazing to watch that happen. And some of them are open to hearing about it. Some of them absolutely not. Some of them look at you like you have 2 heads. And it'd be one thing for somebody to look at me if I was making this stuff up. But this is all proven stuff. Like, there's proof out there that this stuff happens. I'm not making it up. But to teach somebody about it, they have to be open to hearing it. And those that are not open to hearing it, you absolutely know, like, right away. They don't want to hear it.
Yep.
For whatever their reason is. Doesn't matter. They're not interested.
They're just not capable. They're not a match to that energy at all. It's very foreign. I mean, I get it.
Yep. But what it does do, even though they're not interested in hearing it in the moment, it may pique their curiosity, or it has planted a seed.
Exactly.
And then, because that seed's planted within them, they may start attracting it more and more, hearing it more and more from other people. And then the curiosity gets a little more intensified. And then it's like, oh, maybe I could read something about this, or maybe I could, talk to somebody about this or attend a class. And then they learn about themselves. And then now they're on this whole nother journey to understand their own behavior.
And to me, it's all energy, right? So we go all the way back to the whole energy thing. So it's kind of an awesome thing, because I always just talk anyways. I mean, I just talk about the stuff. I don't care. My clients come in, if they don't get me, I don't care. You don't get me. The more you push against what I'm saying, the more it's going to be in your face, because it's going to show up, and eventually you're going to either figure it out here, or you're figured out after you've transitioned, after
Yeah.
you shift ins. But it's because it's awesome, because whatever we push against will bring to us too. So it is quite the process. And that's why it's so important just to be ourselves, and talk about the things we understand. And then maybe that person might say, well, I don't understand. Well, and that just opens up a door, because they don't know, right? You're not slamming the door by saying, oh, I know, I got it, I know. They're open to receiving. So it's a pretty wonderful thing.
Yeah. And they're not open to receiving until they ask the question.
Yeah.
They got to be interested, because if they're not interested, don't use your energy and your breath on it, because they're not going to hear you.
No, only if it feels good for you, that whatever you're speaking, or however you're speaking, because there's someone, like you said, it's planting seeds. Someone always hears. The mom could be hearing all of it.
Yep.
Even though it's not about her, she could be hearing it, because this is going to be a big change for her,
And I had actually had that happen, because they had this family that I'm with right now. They had the son here, and so they're like brother and sister by marriage. So the son, the sister, her husband, myself, the mom. So the brother was in a separate room, who was reading a book. But the door was open, and the rest of us are having a conversation, and I'm talking to them about energy and whatever way I was talking to them. So then when I took the brother to the airport yesterday, he has some anxiety and some depression and just some things going on with him that he's had for years. And so I said, I wanted to mention to you before, while you were here, about tapping, or emotional freedom technique. Have you heard of that? He's like, no, I haven't heard of it. Is that some energy thing? I said, well, kind of. And I kind of explained it to him. I said, it might be, beneficial for you to look into this and just learn more about it. I think it would help you. And he said, yeah, I'm open to learning things like that, but they usually cost money. I said, yeah, I get that. But you know what? There's a lot of information on YouTube that you could use until you got to a space where maybe you would want to purchase a book or attend a class or something. I said, but YouTube's free. So we had that brief moment of conversation. It was less than 5 minutes. And then we changed the topic. Like we talked about something else. But the
So
seed was
crazy. Yeah, the seed was planted. It's crazy because as soon as you said about money, I'm sure we've all had that conversation at some point in our lives. Oh, would that cost money? Man, you said that and it's like door slammed right there. It's like all these possibilities were right there. They're just about to come door and you're like, oh, money. Like money was the ruler of all that situation when it wasn't. It's just awesome because I just recognize that. And I know I've done it. I still do it. I get caught. I'm reminded like some of my words that I've said. I was wearing a white robe and I had it on like the dogs come in and wiping the slobber, and I probably said something about it before being wearing the white robe, but it's like, that's why mama doesn't have nice things. And
yep,
it's like,
yeah, we talked about that.
like, stop yourself. Yeah, we don't, those are little things. And the thing is, when we're around like-minded people, especially as we're learning a lot of this stuff, the more that we're helpful for each other. And you're open to receiving that adjustment, I would say, in like, hey, maybe did you realize what you just said right now? Or because it's the way that it comes across that it becomes a learning experience instead of a defensive experience. Because I lived many moons with a defensive experience, but I was shutting myself off from that information that I could have received. I kept myself in a place of struggle when I kept asking for help, and I kept getting all these life wraps, but I kept refusing them.
Right. And I did the same thing. Well, it costs money, or I don't have the money.
Yeah.
Right. Or I don't have time. I can't. Slam the door, slam the door, slam the door. And
Yeah.
that's like what I was talking about earlier. If I keep saying I don't have money, or I keep saying I'm exhausted, or I keep saying um, uh, I can never find somebody who I connect with in a relationship, right? If I keep affirming that, that's what the universe hears. And they're like,
Yeah.
fine, we're not going to send you any more money. Fine. We're not going to let you attract the person who's going to be the person of your dreams. Fine. You don't want it? Fine. We're not going to provide it, because that's where your attention is. And um, I had this conversation where I worked at a franchise, and one of the store managers, every time I talked to her, every conversation I asked her, how you doing? She goes, I'm so tired. And this went on for a while. And I said, as long as you affirm you're tired, you're always going to be tired, and nothing is going to change. And about a year, 2 years later, somewhere in that time frame, she had a twin sister, and her twin sister and I, talked, and she also worked for the franchise as a store manager. And she says, you told my sister one time that as long as she said that she was tired, she was always going to be tired. And she changed that, and she just really cherished what you said. I was like, just that little tiny piece of information turned somebody's life.
Yeah.
And so that's a prime example of, you can affirm all the time, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I don't have any energy. You're telling your body, this is how we are. This is how we are being, and this is how we will always be. So you will never have the energy level, the stamina in your body, as long as you're focused on, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. And this is this great example of where I was talking about earlier, is in order to get to the space of I'm energized, I'm exhilarated, I've got the stamina to get through this day. You can tell just by that, you can tell the difference in my body language, in my tone of voice, in my energy. One side, I'm just like, my body's limp, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I have no energy, right? And the other side is like, I'm energized, I've got stamina, I'm exhilarated, I'm excited about life. I got the energy to at least get through this day. It's a whole different It's like two different people. You just witnessed two different people. So changing your mindset, emotions, actions, all of that must shift in order to get you and propel you where you want to be, where you want to go.
And remember that I am is a prayer. It's a manifestation. You're creating when you say I am. So it's like being aware of what you are creating. Because you were just describing all of it. And if anybody was paying attention to your energy, like you said, you just saw two people. One was making me, I'm like, oh man, I don't even know how we're gonna, it feels like I don't know how we're gonna go get through this and how. And then the next is like, oh my gosh, we can do anything, because those are our words, and words have energy. And you're creating every time you say I am, and whatever follows behind it, you're creating.
And it was even, I was very aware of this too, these last, this past week, going through all of what I went through, is recognizing what I was saying. And if I said, oh yeah, I'm tired, I would say, you know what? Nope, I just need to rest for a minute. I just need to sit here and close my eyes and re-energize. I need to let my eyes rest. Instead of affirming, man, I'm just burnt. I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Even just saying, you know what? I just need to rest. It's two different energies. And it's allowing my body to be okay with where it's at and knowing that I can shift that to get me through whatever is next.
That's
And
awesome.
one of my mantras when I was in the corporate, working for that franchise, it just like, it was non-stop. You barely ever had a moment to breathe. I mean, that was that like busy. And so from the time you walked in the door till the time you went to lunch, you got back from lunch till closing time, it's like go, 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 go. And I would feel like, okay, I'm gonna get through this stack of papers. And you're almost done. So it gives you something to look forward to. But then you turn and there's a whole nother stack that needs your attention. And you're just like, oh God, is this day ever gonna, am I gonna get through this day? So the way I shifted my mindset was my mantra all the way to work and all day, as long as I could remember it, bring it, be acknowledging it, was I have all the time, space, and energy I need for the tasks that need my attention today. And anything I needed to get done would get done. I'd have the energy to do it, get home, take care of whatever I needed to get home, go to bed, and rest.
Nice.
I had to shift. The job wasn't going to shift. That was going to keep going. So I couldn't change that. What I could change was the way I was perceived.
Exactly. And that's huge.
And the way I was talking to myself.
Yeah, because then you can find ways of appreciating it amidst all that, rush all the time. Everybody needing something. And people don't realize what you said, being conscious of the energy you're putting out, and people don't realize how much that puts out. If a person comes in that's like needy or always needing something, they come in, their energy comes in before they do. And if you're not staying up, if you don't keep yourself up high, you're automatically into that space. And then you wonder why you dropped down so quickly. And it's just because you weren't so diligent on maintaining your space. You weren't so diligent on maintaining your energy.
It's a practice.
It is every day. And like you said, I dip. I mean, often I have, but I also see it.
I dip,
Oh,
you
I
dip.
dip, you dip. Now we know what they were talking about.
Now we get it. Okay.
That has nothing to do with doing a dip. But it's just being aware, and it's not a place that you have to go to. You don't have to go visit that space. You don't have to. But it just takes, like you said, it takes perseverance. It takes diligence. It takes you're resetting your subconscious mind with new information. You're practicing all new behaviors, because every little thing like that, every single little detail, no matter how small you think it is, it's a shift. And it's a shift to feeling better. And that should be the most important thing, just always feeling good.
Yep. That's what we always talk about. Feels good, do it. If it doesn't,
Don't,
I'm gonna rethink it.
yeah, yeah. Don't force yourself to go do things, which is so awesome because we just had an Easter. So it was just a beautiful day. Oh my gosh, it was just a beautiful day. It
Beautiful.
was so nice outside. Kids came out to the house and hid eggs, and we ran around and ate candy, and it was just an amazing day.
Nice.
Huge blessing, yeah. And to me, and it's not we just celebrated. I mean, to me, we celebrated a few days before that, or I don't know. I think it was like 3 or 4 days before that. The kids were all out and running around and playing on their truck that drives around the property everywhere, and they just have such a fun time. And I'll tell you, it blows my mind. So Colton's usually driving, Vivi's the passenger. When Colton parks, he'll get out of his vehicle. I don't know where he's seen somebody do it apparently, but he gets out of his vehicle, walks behind it, opens up the door. Come on, sweetheart. He,
Ah,
he's not out. They're not always nice to each other because there's other things that go on, but it's so sweet when I see that happen. So it's
well,
just
he's teaching his sister how to be treated.
exactly. So appreciation, right? It's just, I find little things like that to appreciate. It's awesome. And it's like, how can we ever expect more? How can we ever expect to be treated better or anything else if we can't treat ourselves that way? If we can't find ways to appreciate things? Because I've been in relationships and I haven't appreciated as much as I could have. Not at all. And it's like when someone transitions and they're no longer in your space, you realize all the things you didn't appreciate. Of course, by that time you remember all the good stuff and you've forgotten anything else that could have been conceived as not great. But so it paints a different picture for you, but it helps you realize while you're here, appreciate everything. Find the joys in everything. And it's not just for you here, it's for everybody that's in spirit. Because the more that we enjoy things here, the more that they're enjoying things. Because we're like all having a party, we're all dancing together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we want. It's a big old party.
All the time.
So my friends, go have your party.
That's
Celebrate.
right. Celebrate every day. That's right.
So we'll just leave it there. You have permission to go party. Be
That's
safe,
right.
be smart. Do
And
what feels
enjoy.
good.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you for being here with us for tea time with Amie and Bev, and we will see you next week.
Have a beautiful day.
Now I got to figure out how to stop recording.